Expecting up to 25,000 activists protesting multiple causes in what could be the biggest protest in Victoria in 24 years. Let's bring up the live shots to see how they're looking now as we bring in Victoria's Shadow Police Minister Brad Batten. Brad, good to see you firstly. As we can see from this live picture from Melbourne at the moment, dozens if not hundreds of protesters have already arrived. What's your message to them and those who are thinking about turning out today?
Look, there's nothing surer. Thank you very much, Pete. There's nothing surer than there's going to be many thousands in Melbourne today. And my greatest fear is just around the level of violence that these kind of protests can build. And it becomes a pack mentality a lot of these occasions. So my simple message is we've got 1,800 Victoria Police and police from around the state and the country who have come down to assist. They are there as a priority to not just to protect the venue itself for the land forces. They are there to also protect the protesters. There'll be a group in there who are violent. If you see any violence, if you want to get away with it or move away from it, speak to Victoria Police. They'll help you out where they can. But make sure that we do protect those police on the front line. It's going to be a tough day for them, and each and every one of them deserve to go home without any injuries. They're just there doing their job to ensure that we have a safe Victoria.
You mentioned that a lot of those police officers have been brought in from regional areas, plus you've got officers that have been brought in from interstate as well. Do you have any concerns that this leaves you short elsewhere?
Oh, look, we've always had these concerns. We already know in Victoria we're struggling with police numbers. We've got about 1,000 vacancies on our rosters throughout the state, and we've seen 43 stations closed since November 2023. So we've already got concerns around the number of Victoria Police that are available to respond. But what we want to make sure to remind the community is that the Victoria Police who are still out in their communities, whether it's in the growth corridors, out through Casey, Cardinia, Wyndham, or it's going out into regional areas where we have brought them in, Victoria Police will be doing obviously a lot of overtime, but we want to make sure that the people in those communities, that we get as many and the quickest response we possibly can. We've got concerns, but we know that Victoria Police members out there work exceptionally hard and they'll respond as quick as they can.
So that 15 million quote in the Herald Sun this morning, do you think that's necessary?
The $15 million quote was, I said, it's probably a big concern of how much it could cost. I think the overtime bill, but at the end of the day, I think Victorians just want to stay safe. And what we're going to see on the streets, we've seen this before, it's a big problem.
Yeah. And you mentioned there are going to be elements that will cause trouble today. What do you think the punishment should be, or what is a suitable punishment for those who do go beyond protesting and go out to cause significant damage or trouble today?
We've actually got laws in place already, Pete. First of all, there's laws around here to ensure police have got more powers.
Yeah.
We've seen people walking with masks. The Victoria Police have the power to remove them, to identify people. But the punishments for these is quite simple. We've already got laws. If you assault a police officer, if you assault any emergency services worker, it should be a minimum 6 months jail. If you go in here and you become violent and there's laws for a fray, there's laws for riots, these laws should be used. We get sick of seeing them go through these protests and then they get into court and then they go, it was during the course of a protest, here's a $100 fine.
Yeah.
It should be challenged to the laws that we already have to ensure they get the sentences they deserve.
Yeah, look, as we mentioned too, there's a few different protesting reasons today. I mean, we've seen quite a few Palestinian flags there. You know, we wonder how they feel about violence that comes from the Gaza side of things as well. Do you have any thoughts on the different messages, the different people who are turning out today?
Yeah, it's again one of those things interesting, Pete, because you've got the different groups there that are protesting different reasons, and that can end up also causing that clash itself.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing today, and I know that the media's been reporting it, is we've got a Greens member of Parliament who's decided to become an activist and not a member of Parliament and go out there to speak at these protests. And I say, as a leader in Parliament, you've got a responsibility. If you go out there and speak, knowing that there's probably going to be violence, you've also got to take responsibility for the violence that happens. Our job is to protect the Victoria Police, to stand up for them, to ensure safety in the community, good order, giving people the right for a peaceful protest. But you're going to have a clash of people with opinions at protests here. I can't see any good result by the end of the day. And I would assure you that all news channels will be reporting about the violence, not about the peaceful protest that they all propose to have.
Can we just wrap on this note, Brad? Elsewhere today, you've got Fresh Resolve polling out today that points to a pretty significant drop in support for the Allen government since Daniel Andrews left. Are you feeling any better or confident about John Pesutto's chances at the next election?
Oh, look, I'll be honest, I've been supporting John, and as everybody knows, we had a challenge for the leadership at the start of this term. I've been working with John and backing John, and highlighting some of these issues around closed police stations, lack of police numbers, increasing crime. These are all the things that I'm really focused on back in my community, and the cost of living crisis in our state. I really couldn't care about polls. I genuinely don't. I just want to make sure that we've got the right policies moving forward. I've done that since 2010, and it's worked for me very well since I've taken a seat from Labor, and I'm sure that we can take a lot more seats from Labor coming into the next election.
All right, coming out of the wilderness, all right. It's been a while.